Welcome to Three Films and a Podcast, the show where destiny brought together three friends to enhance each other's cinematic journey by watching three new movies in a series of themed rounds. There is no claim of ownership on any film footage used in this episode, as all film footage is owned in its entirety by the copyright holders. And just like every car in Too Fast, Too Furious, this podcast contains spoilers. Enjoy! Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Three Films and a Podcast. My name is Ben Lawhorn, and I am joined, as always, by Tyler Beck.
That's right. You are joined by me, Tyler Beck.
As always.
Here in South Salt Lake City, Utah.
South Salt Lake. Unfortunately, Matt is not here with us this evening. He's peeling oranges in the beaches of Greece, so he can't make it, but hopefully he will be back next week. For those of you new to the show, welcome to the Movie Club. For those of you returning, welcome back to the Movie Club. We are certainly happy to have everyone here. You can find us on all of our social medias at 3filmspod, or you can check out our website, 3filmspod.com. We have merch, we have Patreon, we have like a lot of stuff you don't need, but if you want it, it's there. So go check it out. But yeah, before we get into this week's movie, I'd like to introduce our guest, Kayla from the ScreenVomit podcast. Kayla, thank you so much for being here.
That's me. Hi, thank you. Should I have been hiding my face this whole time? I was thinking about it and I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, we can do that in post. We'll put like a curtain above, like in front of your face, and then we'll just like reveal it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
We totally should.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Oh, how did we not think of that before? That's incredible.
Yeah, this will be good. Yeah, I'll just lift the curtain like showtime. Kayla's here. Yeah, before we get into this week's movie, I'd like to introduce our guest, Kayla from the ScreenVomit podcast. Kayla, thank you so much for being here.
That's me. Hi, thank you.
I genuinely don't know why we haven't already been doing
I know, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm not going back to it.
I'm an ideas guy, all right? I'm coming in, I'm kind of, queering the narrative of your podcast.
We'll take it.
You're here to help us workshop stuff. We're not even talking about a movie. We're just like reviewing the pod today.
I'm a businessman.
3 films and a workshop.
Let's make this thing work, baby.
Well, I'm like super stoked to have you on here.
Thank you.
I don't even know exactly how I came across your podcast, but
I don't know either. I feel like we've been following each other's podcasts on Instagram for a long time. I don't know. Seemingly it's just been there in the ether.
Yeah,
and,
it's just been out there.
I see your posts, and I had no idea how we came to be following each other. Couldn't say.
But now our paths have crossed, like Olivia and Dakota. We're finally in the same place here. So I don't know who is who, but we're finally together.
Does that mean I'm the little girl?
I guess so. Yeah.
If that's what you want to be.
Matt's lost. Matt's gone. He's got to be out of here. Yeah.
Well, no, he's the doll.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Full of bugs and
ways
puke.
to go with this. But yeah, I love your pod so much.
Thank you.
I think I told these guys that if they didn't want to do a pod with me anymore, like I would reach out to you, be like, do you want to do one? Because like I really love like listening to you talk. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
I want everyone to like check out all of our guest podcasts, but I could not recommend this one like highly enough. I love what Kayla's doing. Do you want to tell people about the ScreenVomit podcast and what it's all about?
We can just call it ScreenVomit for brevity's sake.
I like it.
So ScreenVomit is the name of my podcast. I've been doing it about 3 years. I do a deep dive on a movie, usually chosen by a guest. My stipulation, though, is it has to be a film from the last 10 years. Other than that, no stipulations. So it could be anything. But I am sort of attracted to like DIY weirdo films. So sometimes those seem to be mostly what we tackle.
I like it.
But yeah, so I have a guest on every episode from some aspect of the arts or entertainment community. So I have musicians or comedians or filmmakers or whatever. Stuff like that on to talk about these movies with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to ask about that because I know you guys have directors on, or you've had directors on right before involved with the film. So I don't know. I think that's cool. How I don't know, how does it all work for you? Like, are you more nervous when you're talking to someone involved with the actual movie, or I feel like you probably don't get nervous, but.
Thank you. I absolutely get nervous. I am normal.
You are normal. I was like, you're in my territory now. I feel like that's how you
What's
approach
normal,
every
you know?
podcast.
I mean, so I never have someone on to break down their own film.
Okay. That's good.
But I have like done a film and then had people from that film come on to talk to me about a different film.
Nice. All right.
Lots of times. So, what's the question? Sorry.
I don't know. That's perfect.
I'm lost in my own answer.
Yeah, I was lost in my question.
Trust me, I get it.
It's I don't know. It's cool. I love talking to people about movies in general, and especially if I'm having someone. I mean, I'm always a fan of the people I've had. I never asked anybody that I have not like seen anything they've done or stuff like that. I'm always picking people because I like what they're doing. So
yeah.
In some sense, I'm already a fan of people when they come on the pod. I also I used to be in the music industry for a long time. I guess that's kind of how I got into having the types of guests that I do, was because I was in music industry for a long time. And once pandemic hit, really, even though I'd been doing the pod for like a year before that, but I used to have a co-host. So we didn't have guests for like the first year. But once pandemic hit, I was like, okay, so I know like hundreds of musicians who are sitting at home right now with full recording studios, like that I could just like hit up and get on the pod. So that's kind of how I started having like cool guests on or whatever. And then, yeah, I don't know, the more films I do, like I said, I'm normally doing kind of more indies or art house or kind of DIY films in general. Not always, but like just the majority is probably along that ilk. That those people find me.
Yeah.
They find my podcast or whatever, and then kind of goes from there, and I get them on eventually.
That's awesome.
So,
were you doing like watching a feature and a short every day or something like that? Is that still?
So the shorts thing is kind of its own thing.
Okay.
So what happened was about, let's see, this would have been like a year and a half ago. What was last year? 2021. Okay, hold on. I'm doing time math. Okay, so in late 2020, I did a film that a lot of people involved with the film had made short films. So in part of my research for this feature that we were doing for the podcast, I watched several short films.
Cool.
And then I loved them. Like they were so cool, and like I just really fell in love with the art form of it all. So I made a personal challenge to watch a short film every day. And nice. I did. I have ever since then, ever since the end of 2020. Nice. I've watched at least one short film every day. And I mean, at first it was just kind of like for me. But the more I like gush about how cool short films are and nobody watches them, and I'm pissed that nobody watches shorts, more people were like, well, where can I find shorts? Like, how can I watch these things, you know? So I was like, I post everything I watch on my Instagram stories. Just, I don't know. People like to see it, I guess.
People want to know.
It seems fun. So I post everything I watch in the stories, and sometimes I'll post little clips and stuff. And yeah, more people just kept asking me where to find these shorts. So I was like, I'm already putting them in the stories. I have a link tree, which is free to use. I might as well just put the link in there. And then if people want to watch them, they can.
That's perfect.
And it kind of has taken off, and people love to watch the shorts. And I think that's sick.
Yeah, I love it.
So my whole goal was to get people to engage with art more often. I mean, shorts are so cool. Like just the limitations of the medium present their own challenges, which are interesting to see how people deal with those. And then also, I mean, it's kind of an equalizer in a way, because anybody can make a short. You know, you can make a short on your phone in high school. Like it doesn't even have to be like so extravagant or anything, you know? And well, I think that's really cool.
Like people can use shorts to sort of like as like a proof of concept, you know, like we covered Animal Kingdom on our podcast, and it started as a short film project that eventually got greenlit into a larger project. And then I think that same director also did a short called Crossbow. And so like through his shorts, through his like sort of, like I said, proof of concept of his tone and the stories he wanted to tell, then he was able to get Animal Kingdom. So like you said, it's a great equalizer, because it gave him the opportunity to do that at, whatever budget was acceptable to him. And then he got his, major motion picture. So yeah, it's super cool. I love shorts a lot.
I think shorts, they can be used as a proof of concept, and it can be cool when that happens. But I think it's also important that they're also respected as their own medium in themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're just really cool on their own. And I don't think that every story has to be a feature length. And I think it's kind of cool to see what people do with only being within 20 minutes,
Yeah.
Or less.
No, it's a solid. Often on this pod, we'll say I think most movies could be like 20 minutes shorter. So I think there's also a lot of movies that could just be 20 minutes. Like, you can really cut it down if you need to. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And as someone who, went to film school, it's amazing how accessible everything is now, because you can, like you said, just do it on your phone and you can make your own short. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
And that gives access to real artists, like people who are really interested in just, performing arts and filmmaking, who don't have access to completing a feature.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone check out your shorts. Check out shorts.
I put a short in my story every day.
Yeah.
So
go follow ScreenVomit. For brevity's sake, not the ScreenVomit podcast. We won't be too long.
I really just call it ScreenVomit.
ScreenVomit. Yeah. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's very nice to meet you. Like I said before, I'm very glad to have you on here. I think it's time to get into this week's episode, though.
Hell yeah.
We are kicking off a new round of movies. Last month, we did Kurosawa films, which was awesome. And we kind of just earlier, we talked about our season 1 awards that we did and realized how much of a sausage fest it kind of was when we were trying to do best, performance from a male.
We're talking
actor.
weenies.
But it looks like a giant dick.
Yeah.
Take a look out of starboard. Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
Pecker!
Oh, where?
Wait, that's not a woodpecker. It looks like someone's...
Private!
Weenies. Yep. Just all weenies. The full
At
dong
least once
here.
per episode.
Yeah.
Nasty. Don't say dong.
That's our quota.
No dong. We just feel like we had like so many like guys to choose from, and then we were doing like the best female performances. Like, oh, there weren't a ton. So we wanted to correct that on season 2. So we recently, before Kurosawa, did a multiple female leads round, which was awesome, where we talked about Steel Magnolias and Beaches and Last Night in Soho. So that was all good to go over. And then I was thinking about what I wanted to pick for this round. It's like, we've done directors, but we did Hitchcock and Kubrick and I forget who the other one, Spielberg, the guy I talked about earlier. What's his face? Steve.
The dudes.
The dudes, the white dudes in movies. And I was like, oh, I think maybe this is another area where we can kind of correct that. So our theme this month is female directed films. I'm excited about all of our selections that we have. And
drop
see
them
today.
What are your selections?
We are talking about You Were Never Really Here.
Okay.
We are talking about Honey Boy next week. And this week we have a directorial debut from our favorite Gyllenhaal, Maggie. And we're going to be talking about The Lost Daughter. So I'm super stoked to get into this. As you guys can see on my shirt, maybe some people can see the corner of on this video, we do like to have our Gyllenhaal of Fame whenever we can in an episode. Unfortunately, Matt isn't here to explain it, but basically, like, whenever Jake comes up, we like to talk about, like, would Maggie have made it more interesting? Would she have been better in that role? And I don't know. I just felt like I had to go with the Maggie pick here. So we watched The Lost Daughter. I kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Like, I based on a book. I don't know if either of you have read it. I don't know if this was a first watch for you or if you
reading
saw it, like,
in 2022. Are you kidding me with that?
We're not doing that. There's no time for that. We're watching shorts. No one's reading. We got shorts to watch. But yeah, synopsis from IMDb: a woman's beach vacation takes a dark turn.
Wait, you're not going to do like a trailer voice?
I know that's Matt's job. Do you want to do it? I would love if you want to do a trailer voice
Me?
for this. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Where is it? I haven't had the notes up. Let me see. Okay.
I'm very excited about this.
A woman's beach vacation takes a dark turn when she begins to confront the troubles of her past. How was that?
Dun, dun.
Really stuck the landing there. That was
really
perfect.
good.
I think you gotta.
Yeah, we're gonna be reaching out to you every week now. Okay, we need a read for this one. We can the Honey Boy synopsis, please.
You can't pay very well, but you're enthusiastic.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just kind of wanted to hear what your experience was with this movie, if you have happened to read it or what you've heard about it, and what you thought about it on this on your first watch. So, Kayla, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I've been talking so much. I feel like someone else should go first.
Tyler, I'm going to throw it to you
Give
first.
him a break.
All right. Well, I watched it on Sunday night right after the Super Bowl, which is a pretty fun juxtaposition.
Football, for those who are new.
Yes.
American football.
Yeah. For our listeners in Kenya, actually, they know the Super Bowl. Who doesn't know the Super Bowl? It's the shining beacon of capitalism spread across the world, which is why I think it's fun that I watched that before I watched this. You know, it's like a different struggle on a different end of some spectrum there.
Very much so.
Yeah, I had never even really heard of it until like the Oscar buzz and, you know, talking about it to do this podcast. I mean, overall, I really liked it. I had a really good time. It was hard for me to like not see Her Majesty the Queen on screen, you know, because we watched The Crown. We binged it pretty recently.
Okay.
So it was a little hard to like not just see the Queen on some like secret beach trip, you know, she like snuck away from her duties. And
it's funny, I thought you were talking about The Favorite and not The Crown. I was like, I haven't watched The Crown, so I was like, oh, that really stuck with you. I guess that's great. Yeah. The Crown. Okay, yeah.
For 3 years, all I've thought about Olivia Colman is in The Favorite.
I mean, could you blame me?
No, it's a great performance. But I mean,
like,
my chick has multitudes, you know.
Oh, she does.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I just, you know, that's the whole point of this podcast is we realized we weren't seeing enough stuff. So,
yeah,
you know, we're trying to expand our horizons here. But, you know, once I got past seeing her as the Queen and I just was really able to appreciate what she was doing, I just was like all in on Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley as well. I wrote in my letterbox that was my favorite part of this movie, was just watching the two of their performances. I mean, for the most part, I actually didn't really have a problem with any performance. I thought there was a lot of good stuff going on here. Even Dakota, I thought she was pretty good in her role. And you know, she gets some a bad rap here and there. But anyways, I thought Jessie Buckley was especially great. Even almost more so in some ways than Olivia Colman. Maybe it's just because, yeah, I don't know why.
Because you think she's hotter.
I really loved what Olivia Colman is gorgeous. Don't you try to pin that shit on me. No, I mean, I actually really do have a big crush on Olivia Colman. And a lot of it honestly has to do with what she does in The Crown. Just like, you can't just help but love her. You know, she just has this like this warmth, and the way she plays that role is really cool. But anyways, for whatever reason, I think I just liked seeing the character that Jessie Buckley was portraying. Like, you don't really get to see that often, you know, like the flawed, I guess, like unwilling mother, for lack of a better term. I liked seeing that angle, seeing a woman deal with what she was dealing with in the way that she dealt with it, you know, not necessarily in like the perfect way or the nuclear way or, you know, what's expected. I liked that. I don't want to say that it's like a flawed character, but as far as like the norms are concerned, you know what I mean? Like, it was just something different, and I really liked the way she played it. And so maybe it's not necessarily the performance, maybe it's more the character that I really liked watching, but regardless, I really loved it. My only gripe was like, I couldn't really tell like what story we were trying to tell. Like, I realized that it's all one story, but I couldn't tell if it was like, is the movie actually the flashback, or is the movie what's taking place in real time? You know what I mean? For some reason, I don't know if it just like, it felt a little disjointed, and maybe I don't really know. Like, the best example I could give is like Forrest Gump. The movie is the flashback, right? Like, it takes place technically in the current or in the present, but the movie is the flashbacks. It like really leans into that. Like, Social Network is another pretty good example of that. Like, the movie's in the flashbacks, even though it's taking place currently. And on the other end, like a movie like Marriage Story starts in the flashback, and then the movie's happening in the present. You know what I mean? So like, I guess I just felt like I wish this movie would have picked a lane, and maybe that's just me, but that was my biggest gripe. I was like, I either wanted to see either or. Like I loved both stories that were being told, but I wish I would have liked to have either just seen all the young stuff and all the current stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe it's kind of a weird gripe to
You want
have
it to be
because
more linear timeline.
I guess so. And I don't necessarily need every story to be linear, but I just felt like in this instance, I was equally invested in both, which I guess is a good thing. I guess I just wanted to spend more time in both of them. You know what I mean? Like I just, yeah. So it's a weird gripe, but regardless, I thought it was really good, and I'm certainly glad I watched it. Especially, hopefully, one of my girls can win an award coming up soon.
Yeah, yeah. I felt I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Think the flashbacks, they worked for me. I think I almost wanted them to be shorter. I think like I didn't mind going back to them, but I just wanted I wanted more Olivia Colman. I wanted like let the audience figure it out kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think we saw a lot in the flashbacks, which was cool. I don't want to take them out completely, but
I don't either. I just want one. I guess I kind of do, like one or the other. I thought the flashbacks worked, but it's almost like they worked too good for me because now I just want to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, I just kind of wish they were shorter and maybe like, I don't know. It was really interesting watching Olivia Colman. Like she seemed to be doing great until they showed up at that beach. Like she was having the time of her life, you know?
Oh, the best time.
And then everything just went really downhill. Like even just as a vacationer, it's like, oh my God, that's so annoying when there's like loud people next to you and you don't want to be loud. Like,
yeah,
that's the worst. But you know, kind of having those like fainting spells and stuff. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted maybe a little bit less of the flashback, kind of let us put it all together. But yeah, I mean, this was a first watch for me. I did not read the book. I had a good time with it. The cast is awesome. We'll get into them later on. But I don't know. I was really curious. I think anytime you hear like the hype train of like, you know, when it reaches the festival circuit, it's like Maggie Gyllenhaal's debut is, you know, whatever. And so you kind of have to like temper expectations. I think she did a wonderful job though for a directorial debut. Like I think this was great. I think the author of the book like entrusted her to direct it, as far as like from what I had heard on her like press tour and stuff, that it was only Maggie that she wanted to direct it. So like that's awesome. I think she put it in good hands for sure. But yeah, the acting was awesome. It's hard to make Grease not cool to look at, you know, like every shot was like still pretty cool, even if it's like a cicada laying on the pillow next to you, which is a nightmare, or like the moldy fruit, which is just like one of my, like, I don't know. No, I know no one likes it, but that shit like literally makes me want to vomit. Like, just whenever I see like, this is disgusting. I can't do this. So, but it still looked good. I don't know. She pulled it off. So, yeah, I'm glad we watched it. I'm excited to talk about it some more. Kayla, now that you've rested your vocal cords, what were your thoughts on your watch of The Lost Daughter?
Okay, so as far as like what had I heard about before going in, I really had heard nothing. I saw this was playing at a movie theater near me, just by like looking at what was at the theater and saw the poster. And that's really all I had known about it was what's on the poster. So I knew Olivia Colman was in it and I saw the Maggie Gyllenhaal, and that's really, I blacked out. I don't know anything else. So,
Nice.
Then you woke up and you're on this podcast.
Yeah.
I really try and know as little as possible going into films anyway. So
That's cool.
I hadn't heard about it. I didn't know it was coming. Nothing. If there's awards buzz y'all are mentioning, I have no idea.
Perfect.
But yeah, so I watched it twice now. Well, like one and 3/4 of a time.
That's all we ask of all of our guests. At least watch it 1 3/4 time. That's it.
I was trying to squeeze in a second, but it is a full 2 hours, and that's a little bit of a time. So what did I think about it? Okay, so I'm thinking about what y'all are saying, that either you feel so invested in what the flashback story was that you think that could have been alone a more interesting story. I think that's interesting. I think, to me, something that first-time filmmakers, I think, often struggle with, and I think that this also kind of does, is that they try too hard to say something or too hard to make a connection, where like you understand what's happening between Olivia and Dakota very quickly, right? You understand that she sees the little daughter, she sees she sees Dakota kind of being stressed, and she sees herself reflected in that. You understand that pretty instantly. But I think they go too hard with it. And they like keep bringing in a little too many examples of how they relate to each other's stories, even going so far as like the affair aspect, or just, I just think there was too much of it. They have the same baby doll.
Yes. Yeah.
It was like just a little too much. And I think, I don't know, maybe it would have been more enjoyable if it was just more of like Olivia sort of going insane on her own without quite so many examples. Is that a review? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a perfect review.
I found the movie enjoyable I liked sitting down and I liked watching it. But if I try and think, did this make me really feel anything? Like, not really.
Right.
Am I going to like remember this in history? No, probably not. So, what does that mean?
That makes sense. Yeah.
No, I think we're sort of almost saying the same thing. Like,
yeah.
I think the movie probably could have been 30 minutes shorter easily, and we could have gotten less of the flashback stuff. Cause like you said, we get it. You know what I mean?
We get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from, I know it's an imaginary person, but I don't want to take away from their experience and the trauma of this character, but it's like, we understand, and like you said, we don't really necessarily need to be beat over the head with it.
We don't need that much.
Maybe a first time director comes in feeling like they have something to prove, and so they really try to put it all out there. But
and maybe they don't understand yet what the limits are of like how smart an audience is. Like, it's maybe hard to gauge on your own. Like, how much do I need to show them before they go?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
So you keep adding.
Exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
Doing more.
I would
never want to be that critical because it's hard to put yourself out there and tell a story like that, and
that goes without saying.
Yeah, but
it's hard to make a movie. Yada yada. Yeah,
for sure. But
ultimately, I think we're all saying there were things we enjoyed about the movie. We maybe would have made some edits.
We got some notes.
Yeah, we have a little bit of notes. I also think in the performances, so I didn't love Jessie Buckley. That's her name, right? When she's younger.
Yeah, the flashback. Yeah.
I didn't love her performance as much. I felt like in Olivia's performance, you could feel more of like that she's battled with sort of these opposing urges, or like the expectation versus her reality or her feelings. And I didn't feel that from the flashback scenes. I felt like the flashbacks, she's just 100% like, get me away from the kids. I'm not struggling with me not loving them or feeling like I should or anything. Just leaving. Bye, guys.
See ya.
No, I won't kiss your finger. Fuck off. It's like kind of like a little too nonchalant about the whole thing. And there's a lot less nuance in it. And it's just way more like, I'm angry and hateful. Get it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very heavy handed. It's like, yeah, we get it. Like, you don't want to do this. I did enjoy some of the, I don't know, I guess maybe the build up to her blowing up. I still can't really comprehend someone just like taking a 3-year vacation from kids. That's like, that's kind of like crazy to me. But the whole scene where, she's trying to work and the kids are crying and the husband's on the phone, and he's like, I'm working. She's like, I'm suffocating. And she like leaves. I'm like, oh, okay. Like that was enough. Like, we get it right there.
I'm working.
I'm suffocating.
That she doesn't want to do this. I felt like Jessie did a good job of showing her frustration and stuff. I'm not sure I fully bought into like the whirlwind affair with Peter Sarsgaard. Like, that kind of was like, oh, that was
Peter Sarsgaard,
really quick.
Also Maggie Gyllenhaal's real life husband, whom she's directing to have a sex scene with another woman.
Yeah.
Isn't that like the definition of like cucking? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
Probably.
What is cucking?
Yeah.
Let us hit us up. Hit
Yeah,
our
send them
DMs.
some links and videos about what cucking is.
Yeah, please.
Please let us know. But yeah, no one has ever made Peter Sarsgaard's chest hair look so like luscious. You know,
And
it's
his
like, yeah, 'cause
beard.
his wife's
The boy's been conditioning.
It was really good.
Yeah.
But that was one of my favorite parts. Is like she's thinking of who to cast as like the irresistible man. It's like, oh, maybe my own husband. Maybe I'll do that.
Just
It's
the
like,
guy.
hey, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, let's get some more nepotism in Hollywood. Just classic,
Yeah.
you know.
Lord knows we need it.
But yeah, no, I liked her performance with the kids. But yeah, we're all just seeing the same stuff. We could have seen less of it. But the Peter Sarsgaard stuff really took me out of it, I think. So like, I just don't buy that all of a sudden you're just going to be like, fuck my family, I'm doing this, whatever. But I don't know, we could see I feel like maybe the regret or whatever in Olivia Colman's face later on. But
we don't see it in Jessie Buckley's face.
No, we never see it in there. And like, I still don't
We don't
understand.
see any conflict with her. That's, I think, my issue. She's one note.
Yeah.
We don't see
Yeah,
any
that's very true.
inner turmoil. Where I feel like when we're seeing Olivia, she's like, oh, I should be like people expect me to have like some motherly feeling towards my children, and I don't. And I feel guilt about that. But it is what it is, you know, where I feel she's watching what's her head have like this little affair and going, oh, that was me and I did the thing. Oh, so bad. But when she's in the flashback, she's not having any of that conflict.
None whatsoever. And I want to know why she came back. I know she tells Dakota at the end, like, oh, I just missed him. It's like, I feel like you probably missed him during the 3 years. Like, what happened, you know, that like brought you back here? But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I think it's totally valid. I think maybe I just got lost in the Jessie Buckley of it all. Cause I'm like, oh, I think she's super fun to watch. But as far as actual character, I think that all makes sense.
Did she take the kids back with her? I was confused because it shows her coming back and seeing the kids, and then the husbands all don't go or whatever.
Yeah.
But she tells the girl she can't stick around for dinner. She leaves again, right?
Yeah, I don't think that.
I think
was
she
the time
pops
that
in
she
and takes
stayed.
off.
Yeah. And then she bounced again for a while. And that's why I was curious. Like, if you're going to show a flashback, like, I'm curious, why did you actually come back? That's kind of what I want to see. But maybe that goes against me just saying that I want less flashbacks. It's like, well, if you're going to do it, then tell me why you came back. 'Cause I'm really curious about that.
It's like you almost just argued both of our points, right? Like, either give us less or give us more. Like, I enjoyed seeing that story being told, but you're right. It was a one note story.
The I'm coming
Maybe
back
that's why
part could have been cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Would have left it. That would have been a lot more interesting.
Taking
for
out
sure.
some of my questions. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. I mean, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about the flashback and see how they worked for you, you know, about the doll. Like you said, the parallels were just almost too much, you know, but I did like some of those like storyline things that ran through the whole time, like the orange with the snake thing. Like, I thought that was kind of cool.
That was cute.
I thought it was an interesting device, I guess, to use at the end, especially earlier in the flashback where she tells Peter, like, I hate talking to my kids, you know, and then that's kind of how we end with it. But I'm curious. Yeah. The ending specifically, how did it work for you guys?
The very ending when she's on the beach and crab?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like up until like, you know, maybe kicking the luggage down the stairs. Like, I don't know. Let's go back to the Dakota. Let's start there. Let's like when she decides to give the doll back, which just the whole time I'm like looking at my screen, like, don't do it. Don't do it. Now is not the time.
Yeah.
Like, do not do this.
I didn't even recognize Dakota for a while in this movie. She's got no gap.
right. I wouldn't have.
I missed the memo on the gap being gone.
The gap is gone.
And then she's got this luscious black hair, long, and then this eyeliner going on. She looked incredible for the part. She looked the character. And that was great. But I did not recognize her for some time. And I go, why does this chick look so familiar? And then I look it up and go,
if I didn't know she was in it, I probably wouldn't have known it was her until I looked it up. But same. I was really glad. I was really happy with how that turned out with the whole doll scene. I was afraid it was going to get like the storybook ending and somehow she was going to understand, you know. I'm glad that we actually saw like a true reaction to something so strange, you know, like imagine someone doing that to you. That's bananas.
She does the classic stab, like just to the left of the belly button.
Yeah.
Such an area to be, maybe the number one place that people get stabbed in films.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the new Scream?
I
have not.
literally saw it last night. Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about with the slightly to the left of the belly button stabs. Because
yeah, exactly.
that film, I mean, what are there, like 900 stabs approximately? I would say
it was intense.
857 of them are just to the left of the belly button.
Just like right in this region here.
Directly
really
to the left
fuck
of the
up your
belly button.
abs.
Stabbed or shot.
Yeah. That's it.
What's the deal with that area? I don't know.
I have no idea.
What's even in there? I mean, who can say?
Is it not like fatal? I don't know why they always do that, but
I feel like there's nothing there. Like, what's there?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
There's just space. Yeah, you can't prove it. There's no science. Yeah. Science doesn't know
we got
yet.
No bones in that area. Okay, suspicious.
Yeah. Very suspicious.
What do you have? Like maybe an intestine. Who cares?
Maybe. Who knows?
You don't even need that crap. You got feet and feet of it.
That's not doing anything. Yeah, it's fine. Take that little bit out.
You're just touching juice. That's it. Juice and skin.
That's it.
You're hitting all juice. What's even the point?
You're just wheezing the juice down there. That's all that's going on.
Get some meat.
I did like though that it was like the hat pin that she used. I thought that was kind of cool. There was a lot of like kind of cool callbacks there. Yeah, I don't know, the fainting spells. Like what was going on with the fainting spells? What did you? I don't understand.
Well,
exactly.
The very end.
Just like,
hold on, let's keep talking about the end.
Please, yeah.
Was she dead on the beach when she woke up and called her kids? Dead or not?
I mean, I don't want her to have died, but it's a better ending. I mean, I don't know. I guess, yeah.
I think it's super interesting if that's the case. Like, I don't know. What did you think?
She wakes up all bloody. Suddenly she has an orange in her hand. She's like choking on water. Where'd this orange come from? I think that kind of signifies that it might be a little, she might be in the afterlife. But I'm also kind of like, was she in hell the whole time? I don't know.
It's hard to say, yeah.
With all the weird bugs and the rotten fruit and like, it all just seems kind of a little demonic, you know? In some ways.
That shot of that centipede or whatever coming out of the doll's mouth. It was like, it was gnarly.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
But I think it's a good call too. I mean, she called her daughters and they were both there, you know, and happy to talk to her. So yeah, who knows? Maybe this is what heaven would be for
and
her.
they go, we thought you were dead. So she probably was like, oh no, I'm dying and I won't have said goodbye to my daughters.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I guess that's I guess that does make sense. And that tracks with the shot of the centipede and the water being in the doll. Like, yeah, I guess that I didn't really put that together until just now. Yeah.
I like it.
Something to think about.
It's very fun to think about. My note for this next part was really just that I love Olivia Colman. Like, I didn't really have any like thing to say about that. I just wanted to talk about her a little bit because I think
give us some of your favorite Olivia Colman parts.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think this might be the best thing I've seen her do. Like, I really enjoyed this performance from her. I do love her in The Favorite. I do love her in, I think, the first 4 episodes of Broadchurch that I watched. I have not finished that show, but was great in that as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm pulling up her IMDb here. Like, I don't know. I think the thing
I don't know that I've seen her in anything else, to be honest.
What? Probably my favorite thing that she's in is Fleabag. I know we don't really talk about TV on this pod, but she's so good in Fleabag. If people haven't watched that,
Fleabag's probably got to be my favorite of her.
Is that your favorite?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what gift I'm giving your father?
Oh, God.
It's a portrait.
Oh, God.
Of you girls.
Right, can't use photos?
No, because the lighting's never good enough. And if you're not very photogenic, then it does you no favors. And besides, the only photos there are of you two together are of when you were children. And you look like a boy, so.
Also, she has some really good outfits in that show. Just as a larger bodied person, I go, wow, I need to dress like that because she's killing it.
She really was, yeah. I recently watched The Lobster, and she's great in that. Just perfect, I think, for that role. So
another Yorgos movie.
But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about Olivia Colman. What do you guys think about Olivia Colman? What are some of your favorite performances?
It's okay. So I've seen The Favorite. I think I'm the least qualified to answer this question. I couldn't love her more in The Crown and in this, frankly. The things that I have seen her in that I am aware that I've seen her in, I absolutely adore her. So, I mean, 2 thumbs up, and we can just move right along.
The Crown, The Favorite, The Lost Daughter.
Fleabag.
Yes.
No,
I'm saying Fleabag. Sorry. Either.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is in your top 3 performances then.
Easily.
Cool. All right. Easily lock it in. Top 3 Olivia Colman, without a doubt. Kayla, what about you? I mean, I know you already mentioned Fleabag.
Fleabag's got to be number one. And plus that show's just like one of the best shows there is.
It's so good.
And The Favorite. I mean, these are just the classic answers.
Did you just look at me? Did you? Look at me! Look at me! How dare you! Close your eyes!
But I think later when we do our movie pairing thing, I'll mention another one. I'll hold it for now so it's a surprise.
Yeah, let's leave the listeners waiting. Yeah. Stay tuned.
But I like that one better than this current movie that we're talking about. But we'll get to it.
Well, now I'm going to stay tuned.
Her
for
performance
sure.
in it specifically, not the movie in general.
Not the whole movie. Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, I want to move on to what we call our Apollonia Award, which, kind of came up with after we watched Purple Rain, where, kind of a supporting character maybe steals the show, from what we remember the movie for. And Olivia Colman is awesome in this. I don't think anyone steals the show from her, but we do like to
no one
give this
could.
award
I'd like
out.
to see him try.
Yeah, no, and that's not possible here. But we do like to, kind of talk about some of our favorite supporting roles. We've already mentioned a few of them. Jessie Buckley was nominated.
Do your least favorite too, because I'm curious.
Oh, least favorite. Okay.
Do both.
We got to figure out a name for that, for whatever the opposite of the Apollonia Award
What's
is.
Apollonia backwards? Figure it out.
Anal. Nope, I can't do that. All right. We'll figure something out.
The Anal Award.
The Anal Award.
Straight doo-doo.
Yeah, we're just going for it.
It's like that Susan album cover thing that happened on Twitter.
Yeah, an album. Yeah. Oh my God. Tyler, do you want to kick us off with your Apollonia winner?
Well, yeah, I do, because I can already tell it's going to be controversial.
Perfect.
Both other people on here. But because, for me, don't get me wrong. Olivia Colman was fantastic. I loved her. But for me, I felt like Jessie Buckley won the movie. Maybe it's because, again, I don't really totally know why. I think I just liked watching that story for all of its flaws, and whether or not we should have watched it, or if we got too much of it, or whatever. I just really liked it. I thought it was,
you just
to me, it was interesting. I mean, there's a lot of good things to look at in this movie. We hang out on beaches. We go back to sordid affairs in the past.
It's a good time.
But no, I just I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I really liked it, and so Jessie Buckley's going to win my Apollonia. And I had another pick that I thought about, but when I was being honest with myself, it just had to be.
Drop it. Who is
Jessie.
it?
Not going to do it.
Okay, well, do your loser then. Who's the loser?
Oh, who is my loser? Well,
Who's the worst?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if the mom was everyone's least favorite character.
The mom being who? Dakota?
Not Dakota.
Her cousin or whatever.
The mom the one she gets on the one she gets in an argument with.
This is a movie about moms. And he goes, who people are going to hate? The mom. 15 moms in this movie. You got to narrow it down.
The pregnant woman that asked her to move on the beach?
Yeah.
Okay. So the one person in the movie that isn't a mom, her. Yes.
Oh, she's not a mom? Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, she's still pregnant. I don't think she has any kids yet. But yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Dakota's mom.
No, I think it's like her cousin or aunt or something. Yeah.
Something.
They say it. It's definitely not her mom. It's like my aunt or cousin or something. Yeah. I don't remember.
That's funny because, she was in the running for my Apollonia, which still might be. But,
wow.
So that's what I was just going to say, is actually the reason I didn't want to say is because I forgot who I was thinking about earlier that could have been my other Apollonia. And as soon as I said my least favorite, I was like, oh, no, wait, she was actually my pick for favorite, because that's one of the scenes I remember most was that confrontation.
I feel like you're lying to cover up now. You didn't want to fight with your friend. You said, you loved her. Oh, I actually loved her too.
Everyone loves her.
I'm just remembering. I also loved her.
When you asked me my least favorite, that was my least favorite character. But that's not to say that the performance of it wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't allow me to finish.
That's
okay.
fair.
If you're going to host our show, you got to at least let us finish our thoughts.
Sorry, I'm a classic interrupter.
No, it's okay. Totally. But as soon as I started saying it, I was like, oh, wait, no, this was my other pick. And I thought it would be like this cool left field pick to do. And anyways, whatever. Ben, it's your turn.
I'm passing the buck. I'm sending it to Kayla.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Okay. So this film, I feel like is so much about Olivia's performance that it's hard to even say anyone else acted in the film. But totally I think, so it's hard to pick. I don't know. I think I'd have to go with Dakota, but I feel like most of her character even was just in the way she looked and less in anything she was doing. But I did like her more than Jessie Buckley. I also thought. Is
that your least favorite?
No.
Okay.
I also thought the doll had an incredible performance. I mean, she's giving puke. She's giving pee. She's giving, many things are going on with the doll. And she's kind of always around and like looking, chilling.
A little lifeless.
Yeah.
Kind of a one-note performance, but yeah, it's fine. It's fair.
So the doll was interesting to me. At least favorite, I do have to say that it was the pregnant non-mom.
Okay, cool.
She's a mom, I'm telling you.
I thought her entire casting kind of threw me off. I don't know. I didn't feel like she really looked like the part. She just was a little too pristinely gorgeous. And that's a weird thing to say, but maybe you understand. Like her hair was a little too perfect. Her teeth are like too perfect that she doesn't look like this like rough queen's mom or whatever she is.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like, her whole casting was a little strange to me.
Yeah, I think like a little kind of read about it beforehand in the book. This is like a pretty straightforward kind of mafia family. Like they really are explicit about it in the book. And this one was just kind of like, they're not good people, but I think maybe that would have helped if she was either like maybe more over the top, like just like really blinged out or something. That would have made more sense.
They're trying to go for like the Jersey Shore, like
kind
Guido
of.
People,
I mean, yeah, it's people that are just like they don't care about who else is on the beach with them. It's like, hey, move. We want to have lunch together. It's like I don't fucking care. Like I was here first. Like we're not moving.
Yeah, I mean, she had a good like New York accent, but other than that, I didn't feel like she really fit the part. To me, that's my opinion.
Yeah. You're not gonna have a bite, not even one bite. Oh. How can you hold cake and not eat it? It's good, right?
It's really good.
Yeah.
That makes sense. She's great in Succession, though. But my winner, my Apollonia Award winner, just to do something different, I'm going to go with Ed Harris. I like seeing Ed Harris.
I just thought of him and I said that would have been a good choice, too.
I think he was solid. I think they're like kind of flirty but not flirty thing was awesome. When she goes over to him when he's with his friends at the bar and like says something in Italian and then just gets embarrassed and leaves. Like I loved that. It was a really strange, like kind of will they, won't they, for the whatever 5 minutes they're on screen together. But it's like, I don't know. Dude just lives in Greece taking care of a house. Do you
think it's interesting that he says to her that she is the same age as his daughter? And then at another point in the movie, she goes on like also a date with like the younger caretaker guy, Irish guy, who is the same age as her daughters. So like, what's going on there?
I don't know. I mean, even she was just like, oh, you're right in between my daughters. Like you missed the joke. You should have said that's where, whatever.
And she sits there and keeps telling him how hot her daughters are. My one daughter is actually really hot. She's very gorgeous and she just looks really attractive, etc.
Yeah.
But she's also like weirdly flirting with him, right?
Yeah, because she's like, I used to have small boobs, and then I got pregnant, and now they're huge. And then my daughters, just like kind of going into like all that kind of stuff with like, man, this is but I don't know, like sometimes when you're on vacation, you have really weird conversations with people because you're never going to see them again.
It's just an interesting detail that they are both like exactly the age of another one's child and that they're trying to fuck them.
Yes, exactly. The generation below them. Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
I think it is. Yeah, 100%. My whatever anal winner, whatever the opposite of Apollonia is. I'm just going to go with Peter Sarsgaard. Maybe just going to think like there's no way he's ever getting this role if Maggie isn't directing this.
Absolutely.
Like, he's fine. Like I don't dislike him by any means. I'm like, there's one person in the world that thinks you're the most handsome person in the world. And she happened to be directing this because if this is supposed to be some like tryst, like some affair, like some guy that's really just going to rip her away from her family, like, it's not Peter Sarsgaard. Like, I don't know, bring in, someone else, but
was his brain she was attracted to, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true. They were academics.
Actually,
but
I have to tie at least one episode per round into New Girl. And there's an episode of New Girl where Martin Starr plays a similar character. He's one of Nick's friends. He comes in and gives a lecture and all the girls fall in love with him. So maybe it should have been Martin Starr instead of Peter Skarsgård. So that I could do the headcanon tie-in and bring this into the New Girl world.
I like it.
She admired him because of his standing in the academia or whatever.
Right.
And then when he was on stage, he mentioned her, something she had written or researched or something. So she goes, "Oh, this guy that I think's real smart thinks I'm real smart. Now I'm horny."
Yeah.
I mean, that's totally fair. I guess in my mind, like she was married to an academic. Yeah. Who hasn't been there? So I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like it should have just been more of a lust thing, but yeah, you guys, it's all valid. Well, okay. I want to do our elevator pitches now.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
I don't know if you were into this, Kayla, but sometimes when we talk about the movies we're watching, when people ask us, we'll tell them the movie and they're like, well, why did you pick that? Like, what's, the draw for this one? So we like to have an elevator pitch ready where we just pick a scene or a moment from the movie to kind of show people. I'll lead it off. Speaking of watching Scream last night, my favorite scene, I think, from this movie was when she's watching the movie and she just like snaps at the kids that are in the front row.
I'm going to cut your tiny little dicks off and feed them to you like peanuts. This is unacceptable. I'm calling the police.
Call the police, bitch. Call the police. Blue loves mother. Blue loves mother. Blue loves mother.
Not much of a story, is it? No, but you know how Americans in Paris love to read about Americans in Paris.
I mean, at first, it's just like she shushes them and then like, I'm going to go get the usher or whatever. And then at one point she just stands up. She's like, I'm going to cut your dicks off and shove them down your throats like peanuts. And I was like, yes, exactly. This is exactly what I wanted to say last night. Cause like the woman to the right of me was just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's Scream 5. We know all the people are coming back. So it's like, we're going to Dewey's house. She'd be like, oh, it's Dewey. It's like, yeah, fucking, we all know. Like we all.
So y'all are going to theaters. Have y'all noticed that people no longer know how to behave at all in theaters? Because that has been my experience. It's
insane. It's like everyone thinks that they're at home. Like,
yes.
She and I think it was her son or whatever, but they were just like talking throughout the whole thing. And I mean, the dude behind us, it's Scream. There's no real spoilers. There's a part there where they talk about like trivia from the previous Stab movies. And, Ghostface asked the question and the guy behind us is answering it. It's like, dude, we are all here at the 5th Scream movie. We've all seen these. Like, please stop answering these out loud. We all know what the answer is. It's just, but everyone thinks they're at home now. I think maybe, pandemic stuff.
I went to a film festival in October, which is like, you're especially supposed to be on good behavior, right? We're seeing movies that are not out. The filmmakers are sometimes there, etc. And the crowds were crazy. People were talking. People were on their phone. Like, it was craziness. And I said, people do not know how to be in theaters no more.
No.
What a bummer.
I see people on their phones constantly.
I've been super lucky. I haven't run into literally any of that. I don't think I've been to quite as many movies as either of you during this, but I think I've seen like 5 or 6 since like October in the theater, and they've all been lovely experiences. I'm very sorry that you've had to deal with that.
Wow, blessed.
Yeah, hashtag.
Rub it in.
Living my privileged life over here.
Yeah. Seen Spider-Man. That was the only time where it's like, I get it. People want to yell and stuff like that's cool. But for the most part, it's like, just stop talking, please, or watch this at home. But that's my elevator pitch, because she got to live out my fantasy of telling someone that they wanted to cut off their dicks and shove it down their throat while talking in a movie. So
that was also the scene where I'm assuming again, but the dad, like the mafia dad, like the mob dad, and he tells the kids to be quiet. I thought that was really cool that he like just kind of stuck up for her and showed her a little bit of respect, maybe just because he could tell that
he had respect.
Maybe he respected her in some way because she stood up for herself. I don't know. Maybe, his mob sensibilities attached to that. It wasn't quite as good as the woman that she slandered so egregiously in the Apollonia Award segment.
I got respect.
But it's pretty solid. At least if anyone's going to get canceled for it, it'll only be you, not me.
I get canceled for impersonating a white New Yorker.
Can you get canceled for that? Probably not. I guess I was saying maybe if you people lean into the Italian side of it, seeing as it's a
Italians
mob
are also
character,
white. Sorry.
There's a really good Silicon Valley joke about that I won't repeat.
She got the liner.
Oh, yeah. Guess that's Domino's. We never had pizza because my stepmom said Italians aren't real white people.
I did find it interesting that like when he did like tell all his family to shut up, you know, it's like that was the one person I think that could get them to stop doing it. So I was curious why he did it, because it didn't seem like anybody cared about her experience throughout this.
There were other people in the theater, right?
I mean, yeah, that's true.
And they're all chilling, just like, yeah, I guess these guys are raising hell, whatever.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was
they were locals that have dealt with this crew for a while.
Yeah, it's like these people come back
here. Oh yeah, and everybody's
like,
scared of them.
Yeah, so that's why they're just putting up with it, but not our queen. She's not putting up with it. Kayla, what's your elevator pitch?
My scene was that I would pick was the one in the toy store or doll store or whatever they're at there. You know what I'm talking about? I don't actually know what the store is called. Okay.
Toy store, we'll call it that.
The toy store. I thought that was such a great scene, and just her like being pissed at the non-mom for trying to sort of claim motherhood or claim some knowledge of what being a mother is like when she hasn't experienced it. Just the anger that's like shooting towards her at that point. Love that. And then just her whole Olivia, obviously, her whole performance in that area is great. And that's probably Dakota's shining moment too, I think. One of her best scenes. And where you really feel like her struggling with the child.
Right.
I wish Dakota had been able to like blow up more at the end. I think that would have been really cool. But I love that toy store scene as well. Like I don't know exactly what she says, but yeah, when Olivia Colman just responds like, "Oh, has that been your experience?" You know, the one person who doesn't have kids, is that like you're gonna tell us exactly what it is? Like, man, that's I mean, I feel that way like being around friends who, who have kids, but just like other parents like, oh, it's gonna be like this. I'm like, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, just I don't know, everyone's gonna have a different experience here. Nothing is like black and white or anything like that. But I love that scene. I think that's a awesome selection.
I think it's one of the best scenes in the film to me.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Just because there's also the tension I think of like she just bought the clothes for the doll that she stole, you know, and like shoving them in her bag as the people walk in. It's like, how do you explain that if they happen to see it? You know,
she goes, "Oh, do you have grandkids?" And she's like, "No."
Nope.
And that's it.
Stay out of my fucking business. Don't worry about it. Tyler, what's your elevator pitch?
I mean, much in the same way, I picked a scene that's, you know, conflict between the two families, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it.
The families.
I always try to
be a familia.
When you're here, your family.
You know, Ben, I try to pick stuff that's not too spoilery. And like, I thought, you know, if we watched the scene where the doll is lost and then we get the reveal that it was in the Queen's purse, Her Majesty that stole the doll. I feel like if I had only seen that scene, I would for sure want to continue watching the movie or see like what's about to happen here.
Yeah.
And so it's not super spoilery in the sense that, you know.
Do you think this movie has spoilers?
I mean, not necessarily, but you know.
I don't know. I was going to ask after you finished that, like, did either of you see that coming with her stealing the doll? Like that kind of threw me off. I did not anticipate that.
I thought she'd probably do something weird.
Do something weird with it. Yeah.
I mean, just in general, I thought she'd do something weird. She'd kidnap the kid, or she'd, I don't know, take the doll. She'd do something weird to kind of sabotage that family. She'd do something to get back at them.
In the moment, I was actually like, I thought that the doll was planted. And I thought she like, in the moment, I was like, oh, it was planted there. And now she's worried she's going to hide it and try to figure out what to do. That's actually what I thought was happening in the moment until I realized
I could totally see
that she had stolen it. So, yeah, I guess showing that scene, you wouldn't know what happened. It could go either way, I guess, you know, but yeah, that's where I would go. Also, I liked the cake apology scene. I thought that was really fun. not fun. Just I like the tension of it, you know, like that weird, like nice mean, like the sizing you up sort of thing. I really liked that.
Like having the conversation, but you can tell the whole time she's like waiting for her to take a bite. You know, it's like, oh, you're not gonna eat that. Yeah.
And then she takes like the tiniest bite and goes, nice, and like gives it back.
That's good stuff.
Good. Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just dying to get to the drive-in double feature here. We are heading over to our drive-in sponsored by a close friend of the pod, Adam Driver.
I just had sex. I'm about to eat nachos. It's the greatest moment of my life.
This is where we get to set up our own double feature with the movie we're talking about this week, which is The Lost Daughter. Kayla, I mean, you already kind of teed up that you've got a banger Olivia Colman performance on deck. So I'm kicking it to you first.
Okay, wow. So when I was watching this film, a lot of what I was thinking was Olivia Colman has played this exact character in another movie 10 years ago called Tyrannosaur. Have y'all seen this film?
No, I just saw it on her IMDb though, and I thought, what is that about?
It's from 2011. I mean, her story is different. The circumstances are different, but essentially she plays also like a sort of like innocent young lady who's like cute and has big eyes but has like a dark evil secret.
Nice. I like it.
And so in that film, she's like she works at like a thrift store that's led by like a Christian ministry or something. So she's just like a nice little Christian girl. But she has an abusive husband, and she comes into contact with a guy who is all fucked up. I mean, his life's a total wreck. He's also a very angry man, and she tries to like help this man. Basically, is sort of the story. I don't know. I'm pulling this from memory. I'm not reading anything, so I don't know. But
it's exactly what the IMDb says. It's crazy. It's like verbatim. It's
like, the film overall is like fine. I wouldn't say it's incredible, but her character and performance in that film, I actually liked better than this. And because I saw it first, and actually it came out over 10 years earlier than this one, I kind of was like, oh, I'm just seeing the same shit again. So
I've never even heard of that. No, I'm just like, I'm looking it up. And it's like Patty Constantine, who was in Hot Fuzz with her. I didn't realize this is like one of 2 movies features that he's directed. I'm like, I don't know. I'm very interested to check it out now.
There was a time where I was sourcing from all types of sources recommendations for films that are absolutely bleak, no hope at all. I don't want a happy ending. I want a full depression mode. Nothing good happens. Total depression. And this was one of those films that got recommended.
I would love to see the lineup of that film festival.
Wow.
Well, so I've been watching through that list for a long time. I have depression, and some of them aren't as depressing as I'd like. And I say, people who recommended this to me have not had depression. This is a happy ending, and this is not what I want. Taste of Cherry, he does not kill himself. That's not happy.
He's still alive.
That's not depression to me.
Spoiler
that's
alert.
Happy.
Nice.
But sorry.
I like that you went that route. Like you're really diving into the bleakness of it all. Because I wanted to flip it around immediately. I was like, okay, I want to raise the mood. We're gonna play The Lost Daughter first, and then we're gonna end the night with some laughs, or at least like something lighter or easier. And so I thought like Blue Crush with the link of
is that like a surfing movie?
Beach. Yeah. It's like a woman goes to Hawaii to be like a championship surfer, and her dreams are dashed by falling in love with a man. Very compelling storytelling, but it's fun. I
forgot to mention I also had a second answer, which I didn't say.
Oh, well, we'll give you some time.
Yeah.
But also, what about Bob? For the same reasons, I couldn't really decide. What about Bob's a better movie, but Blue Crush is the one I don't know what that is.
And why'd you pick it?
Are you fucking with me, or are you just trying to like get me to talk for the podcast?
I don't know.
Oh no!
So the thing about me is I only watch like weird films no one's heard of, and I've never seen anything normal. So
but you live in Chicago, and it has Bill Murray. He's a Chicago legend.
Bill Murray's canceled as hell. He's actually, people boycott his restaurant in Chicago, like protested outside.
Oh, really?
Shit.
You know, he beat his wife. Sorry.
Did not know that.
Oh, well, now you know.
Now we know.
All right, so I won't pick What About Bob.
Okay, back to Blue
And
Crush.
Kayla's not going to watch it.
Yeah. What was your second one, Kayla?
Oh, my second one, I went a different way, which was that, so I thought Tyrannosaur and this film would be a good pairing because you get to see Olivia Colman do the same character, but better in one. And then, so the second one that I picked, I was thinking, what if I pick a film that's about a child who has a shitty mom? So kind of the reverse perspective.
Okay.
So I picked this film called I Killed My Mother. He doesn't actually kill his mother. It's an emotional killing.
Gotcha.
Which is a French film, or I think it's French Canadian. I always get in trouble when I say it's French by French people who refuse to be associated with French Canadians.
That's Canada.
Directed by Xavier Dolan, who's done some really good films. And I love that movie. It's very good. It's probably one of my faves, but I just thought it would be interesting maybe to have, so you see a film about a mother who sucks to her kids, but from the mother's perspective. And then you see another film about a shitty mother from the child's perspective. I thought that could be a cool double feature. That's all.
I'm all for it. I like it.
I dig it.
Reverse POV. I think that works awesome. As I've mentioned before with these drive-ins, I kind of just pick one thing that stuck out to me. Like, oh, I want to do that again. And I just wanted to stay on the beaches in Greece. So I was like, let's Mamma Mia. Let's throw that on afterwards. Let's lighten the mood here. We got some talking heads and The Lost Daughter, but let's really party here at the ABBA. So that's pretty much it. Mamma Mia. That's the pitch for the movie.
Oh yeah. And you turn it on and you say, here we go again, right?
Here we go again. If we're doing a triple feature, here we go again. So yeah, now we're the last segment here, our Rushmore Mountain.
These are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
This was not a great vacation for Olivia Colman, but I thought it might be interesting for us to pick our top 4 vacation movies.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing today on our Rushmore. Kayla, are you ready to go?
Me first again.
Or you don't have to. If you, we can.
I want to be in the middle. One of you guys go first.
All right, cool.
Gladly.
Kayla sandwich here.
No, so I mean, the first.
You did the joke from the movie. I see what you did.
Wait, I didn't even hear it. Damn it! I'll have to wait till the episode releases.
Kayla sandwich.
Oh, right, yeah. Solid callback.
Yeah.
First one I thought of was Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That's like a rewatch classic.
Also, not a great vacation for him.
True.
I mean, in the end, it's not about it's about the whole journey, right? But Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and then Before Sunrise, I realized that's technically a vacation. He's going home, and I don't remember it's not necessarily a vacation. He's just kind of wandering, right?
I've never seen it.
When he finds her,
Before Sunrise.
I've never seen any of the Before trilogy. Sue my ass. I hate love.
That's okay.
Cool.
we had none of us had seen it either, but we watched it last year sometime. We did a whole trilogies round, so we watched the whole Before trilogy. It's a good time. I don't have quite as I'm not quite as salty about love as you are. So, and then I thought any of the lampoons in general, just pick a vacation lampoon. I'm going to shout out Vegas Vacation because that's the first lampoon movie that I remember watching. I'm sure I saw the original Vacation and Christmas Vacation before that, but for whatever reason, the Vegas Vacation just always makes me laugh, and so I'll pick that. And then I had a few different picks for my fourth. But I'm actually going to shout out a newer movie, Palm Springs. Yeah. With our boy, what's his name?
Andy
He's
Samberg.
Our boy. That's the guy. Yeah. I really like that movie quite a bit. That was sort of a hidden gem that, I don't know if it's a hidden gem necessarily. I think it
had a moment during lockdown.
But I think maybe now it might have been forgotten again. So anyways, I'll make that my fourth, Palm Springs, round it out.
Okay.
All right, Kayla.
My turn now? All right.
Yeah.
We got all weird shit.
I love it.
So I wanted to be in the middle. And just by accident, 3 of them are foreign films. Okay, so I'm going to start with The Ornithologist. This is a Portuguese film from 2016. It's one of my favorite films. I love it so much. I've done it on my podcast. It's do I need to tell you what they're about? You probably haven't heard of these.
I'd love to hear what they're about.
Okay. It's sort of a religious allegory, but it's about this guy who is an ornithologist, which is a bird watcher, if you don't know. And he goes on like a trip to do some bird watching, but all kinds of fucked up stuff happens. There's like some surrealism aspects to it. He kind of just loses his mind in the woods.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
And it's queer.
Cool.
Which is pertinent to my interests. Maybe not y'all's, but maybe one day.
I'm into it.
Hell yeah. And so The Ornithologist. I love that movie. All right. Force Majeure. One of my other favorite films. I love this film. Have y'all seen this one?
I've
at least heard of.
You've heard of it. Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Maybe the next one we'll have seen.
I really like this director too. Ruben Ostlund has a bunch of cool short films as well. I haven't seen as many of his features, but I have a bunch of them on my list. I've heard they're all really good. So yeah, Force Majeure is about a family who goes on like a skiing trip for France, maybe. The director is Swedish, so I think it's Swedish and French. I don't know. I don't speak either one. I mean, a little French. Anyway, that's not important.
As long as it's not from Canada, then the French will hate it.
But it's just, so it's like this family goes on this ski trip and an avalanche happens and they think they're all going to die. And the dad runs away instead of trying to save his family. And it kind of goes from there. It's like,
nice. Why
would you not try and save your family? It causes this whole rift.
And it's got a Tormund. I can't say his real name. Christopher Hivju.
It probably has a couple people you might recognize, at least one.
Yeah.
There's an American actor in it. I don't have it pulled up. I don't remember who it was, but I remember I go, oh, this guy.
Got a couple this guys.
A couple this guys. It's
Nice.
really emotional and really beautiful movie. Force Majeure. Okay. Next, I'm gonna go Stranger Than Paradise, Jim Jarmusch movie.
Okay.
Blank stares still.
No, sorry. This is another one I've heard of, but then I was like, wait, I thought it was Stranger Than Fiction at first. But
No,
yeah.
Stranger Than Paradise. What's his head? Who are you guys looking this up?
Looking it up.
Yes.
What's the guy's name in it?
John Lurie?
Yes, John Lurie. I love him so much. I think he's one of these guys that no matter what's happening on screen, if he's in the shot, you can't look away from him. You know, he just has like something. And
I like it.
yeah, I just love him. He's great. He's a good follow on Twitter too. I don't know.
Oh, nice.
But Stranger Than Paradise is just like a really chill film about him and two of his pals going on a little trip to Ohio, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an early Jarmusch. So if you're Jarmusch fans, anybody? No, still blank stares.
No, sorry. I'm just looking. I'm too invested in the IMDb over here.
Okay.
I know I've seen some Jarmusch stuff, but I can't remember. He did yeah. I know. I saw Broken Flowers and handful.
The
of
one
other
with
things.
Bill Murray. Interesting.
That's it. Yeah. And Coffee and Cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Down by Law, which I enjoyed.
Which also has John Lurie.
Okay, cool.
And a main
I
role.
see. I know
He's
John
one of
Lurie.
the three.
Nice.
So the first half of Dead Man.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, I never finished it. But
Dead
I really
Man's a
did.
good one. Yeah. So yeah, I like Jarmusch. I like all of his films. They have a really great vibe. Or all of the ones I've seen. Well, that's a lie. I didn't love The Dead Don't Die, but I've loved all the other ones I've seen.
No, you can't win them all.
He can't love it all. It was fine. It's not great. Okay, last one. This one is a stretch over whether or not it qualifies as an actual vacation. It's more of a trip. Okay, so this is called The Wild Boys. It's from 2017, French film. One of the craziest films I've ever seen. It's about this group of teen boys who are convicted of a crime, a very severe, violent crime. And their punishment is that this like ship captain says, I can fix these boys. Let me take them out on my ship. And when we get back,
that was a good idea.
When we get back, they're going to be changed and they'll be better. And
sure.
So he takes them on his ship to this island. It's just the craziest thing I've ever seen. Also, all of the boys, the teen boys, are played by women. They're all female actors.
Cool.
So it's kind of really cool. Extremely artsy weirdo shit. If you're into that, also trigger warning, there are 3 rape scenes. So
good to know.
But it's very good despite that being true. I just think it's such a crazy, wild film. And that's my outright.
It sounds crazy and wild.
I'm into
so
it.
if you didn't think I was psychotic before we got to this part.
No.
I was like, is this the Jackass spinoff TV show they did, The Wild Boys?
No.
Like, it's what's that?
It's French. I mean, there's a French title too, but I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not going there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, for mine, I guess maybe Vacations used a little loosely here, but The Holiday, which is a new one for me. I was really into Jack Black in that movie. I really like that one a lot. Mm-hmm. Great Outdoors, John Candy. I think anytime I can get him on the list, I'm going to do that.
I would have bet my next paycheck that was going to end up on your list.
Really? Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. I thought it was going to be kind of a surprise. The Trip, which is maybe, I mean, considering our guest here, I want to say this is like maybe a little less known, but I don't know. This is
it's okay.
But
Please don't compare yourself to me.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to the bar is set. It's called The Trip. Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon, who are great, comedians, and basically the premise is that they have to go around the country to restaurants, but at each dinner they're basically just improvising the whole time. So it's just like, I don't know, just kind of a fun hang to watch them do their Michael Caine impressions at each other and stuff like that.
I say that he used to talk like that.
Do you Michael Caine?
Okay. I say Michael Caine used to talk like this in the 1960s, right? But that has changed. And I say that over the years, Michael's voice has come down several octaves. Let me finish. And all of the cigars and the brandy don't let me finish can now be heard.
Okay.
I've not fucking finished.
And then, I mean, I had Sarah Marshall in mine too, but in the interest of not having any overlap, I think I was thinking about The Hangover as well. That one, I don't know. I think that movie.
It would have been on mine if I didn't do Vegas Vacations. Like, I can't have 2 Vegas movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, double Vegas. Can't do that.
Yeah.
So, I think it's what I would throw on mine is The Hangover. So those are our Rushmores. Are there any final thoughts? Is there anything that we haven't talked about?
Did you say 4 movies?
The Holiday, Great Outdoors, The Trip, and Hangover.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's 4. I just counted.
So to be fair, I've never seen just about any of the movies that you guys said either. So
perfect.
I seen The Holiday.
At this point, that doesn't surprise me.
I worked at the movies when The Holiday came out, I think.
Oh,
Did that have Cameron Diaz too?
Yeah, and Jude Law.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the Kate Winslet, Jack Black story more, the one in LA. But
So I'd seen that one. I don't think I've seen anything else that you guys said. So we're even. That's all.
Yeah, it's all good. 1 for 8. I like it. We're 0 for 4, and you're 1 for 8. So it makes sense. Yeah. Anything else?
That's why we wanted to do this show, this podcast, and have these conversations, because now there's a whole ton of stuff that you just gave us that I can go check out.
And I hope you do.
I will. I find myself like at lunch needing something quick to watch, so I just put on like an old show on Netflix. But now I have a bunch of shorts.
That's what shorts are great for too. And you know what? Not to plug a thing I do again, but in my little link tree, which is linked wherever ScreenVomit is, or Linktree, however you do Linktree, linktr.ee/ScreenVomit.
We'll have it in the notes.
I also have a curated list of great short films that I love, and it has links, and it has how long they are, so like I'm sitting down for this amount of time, I can watch this one. And there are like 50 or something short films on there. So if you just need something to blast through, or just go through and add them all to your like queue on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever, to your watch laters, that's something you can do. I typically sit down in the mornings with my bowl of cereal. I'm getting ready for work. I turn on a short film. You watch a little 5 to 15 minute thing.
That's solid.
It's a great routine. I like it.
That's my routine. Okay, so as far as do we need Do we have something else to say about this movie? I had a question.
Let's hear it.
All right. My question was, so this is...
Would I stroke Peter Sarsgaard's chest? I would.
Yes.
I wish it was someone else, but I would.
We've kind of been not talking about the movie now for a while. We have to go back into it.
That's true. Let's get back into it.
We kind of came out of it. Now I'm like all weird. Okay, so my question was, so you're doing this series on female directors. So I was wondering if there are specific ways in which you think that a female perspective influenced this film, or some way that misogyny or gender roles or something was tackled that wouldn't have been the case were it directed by a man. What did the female perspective specifically bring to this film, or what value did it add for you guys?
Well, I think that's why I liked the flashback stuff so much. Because I like seeing that story told by a woman, right? Like, I mean, everyone can at least understand, whether or not they hold those feelings or not, what it would be like to not want to have to deal with this thing, in this case, the kids, right? Like, but as a man, it's like, yeah, I know what that's like from a man's perspective. I don't personally, but you know what I'm saying? But like, I did appreciate like seeing that story told by a woman, because I think I wouldn't dare to assume the struggles or whatever that Maggie's gone through, but I don't know. I thought that was interesting. And maybe that's why I liked it so much. I just like, oh, I like that there's a woman telling this story and there's a woman playing it so well, and that people have to see it and deal with it, because, you know, we deal with in like a lot of pop culture stories, or in a lot of stories that I've seen, like we deal with men leaving all the time and the men not wanting to be around for the kids. And that story is told for a reason, because it happens quite a bit. But you also know that it's happening on the other side as well, because we're all just people. And I just really liked seeing that. And I thought, I thought that was cool. And actually, like, I remember watching the masturbation scene. I was like, oh, that's really interesting to see this, like, shot and filmed, a woman telling, you know, this story and portraying this scene. And like, just, I felt like you could really see like the woman's touch in it, because it wasn't like
literally
pornographic in the way that, yeah, right. Totally. Nice. But it wasn't like it was certainly like sensual and like erotic, but not like pornographic in the way that, I don't know, like a dude might shoot that scene. You know what I mean? Like I've seen Black Swan. That was way more pornographic than this scene. So those were a couple times when I noticed. And I'm actually glad you asked me that, because I wanted to talk about it, but I forgot. And so you brought it up. So
you forgot about the woman's perspective. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a white man in America. Of course I am.
Next.
I think a lot was added, specifically too with being a mother, with Maggie Gyllenhaal having children of her own. Cause I think that's
2 daughters, in fact.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I just think you're able to bring a perspective that no one else can, to tie it into something else that I recently rewatched. Come on. It, talk about how moms just have the ungrateful duty of just like having to like do everything, explain everything. Like they get to participate in some of the fun stuff, but they're also responsible for all like the whatever everyday regular bad stuff, that kind of a thing. And dads don't necessarily have to do that.
Mothers cannot help but be in touch with the most difficult aspects of any fully lived life. Why on earth should it fall to them to paint things bright and innocent and safe?
And, there's a scene in there with Gabby Hoffman and Joaquin's just like, man, it's so hard to be around him sometimes. And Gabby Hoffman says like, I love this person more than I could ever understand. And there are times when I just don't want to be in the same room. It's just like, it's crazy, but that's kind of what being a parent is, it's just like, and so it's just interesting, to have recently watched that and hear that perspective of motherhood and, what it means in that movie. And then in here, just watching Olivia Colman, kind of seeing, what decisions she's made in her life and where that has put her now. And just like, I don't know that, I don't know. The line that really stuck with me is when I think it was Dakota Johnson asked her how it was when she left. And she was like, it was amazing.
What did it feel like without them?
felt amazing. Felt like I'd been trying not to explode, and then I exploded.
It doesn't sound amazing.
Okay.
I was like, man, I don't know, like a lot of people would have left this in there or whatever, but it's like, that's the hard truth though. It's just like, yeah, it was great. I know I should probably say like, it was horrible, I missed them, whatever. It's like, no, it was awesome. I loved it. It's just having that, understanding this is coming from a lot of these people who have children and understand that experience, someone who also doesn't have kids. It was just like, oh, it's really, you can tell that was, I don't know, it's not something that we would see in everyday movie. So I loved it. I thought it was a great touch, and I'm glad Maggie directed it.
She tackled a taboo in that way.
Because
women are so expected to be the one who stays with their children.
Right.
And even in this film, we see in the film 2 different men come through her life who have left their families and don't suffer for it. They're having a great time. We see those the camper people walking through her yard that come inside and are like, oh yeah, I have 2 kids. They're at home with my wife or my ex or whatever. And I'm out here backpacking. Yeah. And then also the older man caretaker. What's his name? I can't, whatever. I'm not
Ed
great
Harris?
with names. Yeah. Ed Harris.
Yeah.
Famously not good with names. Anyway.
Same.
Yeah. Ed Harris also says that he has kids who are like, whatever, off somewhere with his wife and like didn't really spend any time with them growing up. And those men don't suffer any consequences for that behavior.
Right.
It's true.
But it feels like there's a consequence on her, or there's an expectation on her as a woman to have a feeling about not being around her kids, where there's not that on the men. And I think it's cool that they had that in the film too. I also do think, I agree, the female masturbation scene, you almost never see women get to honk off in a film. So
love a good honk.
Love a good honk. And yeah, specifically the way it was shot, but just in general, having it in a film, you don't really get to see that. Although,
well, and especially in a way when it was like, it seemed realistic, you know what I mean? Like trying to find a quiet moment, rather than like a built up sex scene at night with candles on, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. In that aspect, yeah.
It seemed real. It was believable to me.
I will say, I don't believe that most women bother jacking off with their hands in general.
Sure.
That's fair. Yeah. But it was interesting too.
Not in 2022.
Not for many years. But yeah, in terms of, she's just like sitting in an office chair being horny like a man would even.
Yeah,
like we see
totally.
men represented in films constantly sitting in an office chair being horny and jacking off. And you don't get to see that from women really. And
it was just interesting too how quickly she had to like snap back into mom mode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when she was out of it, it's just like, all right, that's done. Now I got to focus on this, like, or not even done, but that's just like put on hold. I'm finished with that, what it's going to be. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting dynamic, because it's like a great phone call that she gets. And then she's just like, okay, on to the next thing. Like now I'm in a good mood. So I'm going to be a happy mom now. Cause we did get some flashbacks of happy mom too,
course,
like they're having a great time. Yeah, there wasn't a ton, but it was interesting to see that though, and I think that's why maybe it stuck with me so much, because it was so like, it was so much less than when she's like angry or frustrated or whatever. So it's like, oh, there were moments where she was happy and content and whatever, but then reality, kicks back in. So
to even address the fact that motherhood can be hell is still like something we can't really talk about. I mean, you mentioned Come On, and that has a lot more of like, I love my kid, but sometimes it's complicated. This is like full on, I hate being a mother. I didn't have the feeling, like, I mean, when you think about, films in general, it's like, I love my baby the whole time it's in my tummy. As soon as it comes out, which happens very easily, maybe I do a few like Lamaze breathings and I sweat, and then the baby pops out and I get this gorgeous like hearts in my eyes, and I just love this thing so much, changes my life. Like that's how you're supposed to like feel. We're only recently like here lately even starting to approach the topic of like, it might be more complicated. Pregnancy even might be horrible. And like, we're not even really allowed to talk about that.
Right.
Way more horrifying than anyone's allowed to admit. And then, motherhood having its own like terrible downsides as well.
Yeah, I think it was a very interesting topic for it to cover. I'm curious how it would have done, in a, I don't know if it's pandemic related, but just Netflix, like if this had gotten like a full release, if maybe this was the best place for it. I don't know where the best place was for this movie to end up. Did it get a nationwide release, or was it just like an LA, New York thing?
Well, I live in Indianapolis and it was in theaters here, so it must have been somewhere.
So the big three, LA, Indianapolis, and New York.
It probably got a limited release because it's an art house film. So, and it's low budget. It probably got a limited release to like 50 or so theaters, I would imagine.
That's true.
Just any city with a football team. If you have an NFL team, you get the Lost.
If you had a football team.
Maybe
That's why I watched it after the Super Bowl.
Do you guys have art house theaters there? What's the theater scene like? Or you just got AMC's?
There's the Broadway.
No, we've got a couple. We've got Broadway, which is like definitely the art house for here. And then, we have some others that are kind of, I can't think of the theater.
There's the Tower on 9th and 9th.
Oh, yeah, there's Tower. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the theater chain, though, like in Austin and stuff like that, where people can't talk.
Oh, Alamo.
Alamo. Yeah. We have one here, Broovies, which is kind of the same. So that's kind of nice to have that. But as far as the art house stuff, we have Broadway, which is where I saw Hunt for the Wilder People, to take it back to your podcast.
Okay.
I left work early one day and I was like, I like Taika Waititi. I'm going to go see this. I had no idea what it was about, but that was a good thing. And apparently there's a lot of time jumps in there that I did not catch. So I have to rewatch that again. But yeah.
Cool.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Is there any other stuff we want to hit on, or should we wrap it up here?
That was my main question. I think, if anything, if we didn't maybe love this movie as much as we wanted to, I do think it's important that those aspects of motherhood and those aspects of womanhood even are
For sure.
Explored. I think that that's important culturally. So whether or not we love the film, I'm glad it exists. What I'd like to say.
Stories need to be told. So I think that's a really good call. Well, thank you again for coming on. Do you want to remind people about ScreenVomit and where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and all the other stuff at ScreenVomit, one word, wherever you find your podcasts. I got a whole bunch of them on there. That's really it. Follow me on crap. Subscribe, like and subscribe.
Follow the crap.
Follow the crap. ScreenVomit.
Follow the stories.
Train your algorithm. Show you more ScreenVomit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Check out their pod. It's honestly, I love it so much. Genuinely. So highly recommend it. You know where to find us everywhere at 3 Films Pod. Same thing. Follow our crap and just come hang out with us. So thanks again for joining us. And we will see you next week for Honey Boy.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Right, this is how Michael Caine speaks. Michael Caine speaks to his nose like that. He gets very, very specific. It's very like that. When he gets loudly, it gets very loud indeed. It gets very specific. It's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, all right? You're not doing it the way he speaks. You're not doing it with the kind of... And you don't do the broken voice when he gets very emotional. When he gets very emotional indeed. She was only 16 years old. She was only 16. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. That's Michael Caine.